I watched every Resident Evil movie in one sitting. Despite being a longtime fan of the games that they are based on, I have never watched all of these movies. I know their reputation isn't great, but I do have an open mind and a lust for some good old franchise horror slop. So I devoted a whole day to watching each one back to back with a little break, partially for entertainment, partially to see what it would do to my aging brain. Now let's waste no time and begin the gauntlet. The story begins in a secret research laboratory called the Hive, which is owned by Umbrella Corporation. Within the Hive is the genetically engineered T-virus, which is essentially a chemical which turns everyone into a goddamn zombie. Big Pharma up to its old tricks. A thief steals this virus and throws it around. Look at the way he throws this. Causing the Hive to be infected. This activates the evil security system, which is called the Red Queen, and it quarantines the whole place. Everyone perishes. We then go to our hero Milla Jovovich, who wakes up naked. Unfortunately for her, she has amnesia and is confused as to why she is in this big mansion all alone. She suddenly gets attacked by an unknown white man, but thankfully, a SWAT team breaks into the house to stop him. The SWAT team are like, we work for Umbrella and we gotta go down to the lab because of this whole outbreak nonsense. And you gotta help us. This big house, turns out, is actually the secret entrance to the lab we saw. Turns out Milla Jovovich and this other guy who they find were actually protecting the lab entrance by pretending to be a married couple. This is all a bit elaborate, isn't it? Like, the game is pretty straightforward in comparison. Anyways, everyone goes down to the lab and quickly we see that the security system is not going to make this easy. Half of the SWAT team are immediately destroyed by a laser hallway and the rest of them are just like, well, fuck. As if things couldn't get any worse, zombies appear. I almost forgot this was meant to be Resident Goddamn Evil. Anyway, the remaining members of the group, including Michelle Rodriguez from TV's Lost, is that still on? Journey to the lab and Milla Jovovich starts to get her memory back. Turns out she's actually a badass martial artist or something. She demonstrates this by kicking a dog in the face. But more importantly, she remembers the unnamed white man and his sister were actually environmental activists who were trying to expose Umbrella Corp by infiltrating them from the inside, using Milla Jovovich as the guy on the inside. Even more importantly, Milla Jovovich remembers there is an antivirus inside this lab. But unfortunately, her fake husband also got his memory back and remembered that he was evil and was also the one who released the T-virus in the first place. And he tries to trap them in the lab. Unlucky though, because he gets bitten by a zombie as well as Michelle Rodriguez too. The gang are just like, well, let's get out of this place before it traps us permanently and take the convenient Umbrella Corp train. Unfortunately, they are pursued by a giant licker. Remember that from the games? The licker tries to eat them all, but Milla Jovovich and the white guy manage to escape. Everyone else perishes. Back in the mansion, Milla Jovovich tries to save the white guy from the infection with the antivirus, but goddammit, some guys in hazmat suits who specifically set up a quarantine tunnel attached to this particular exit of the mansion, how did they know these two are going to be in this room particularly, burst in and take the white guy away, saying that he'll be part of the Nemesis Project. I wonder what that could mean. Before the credits, Milla Jovovich wakes up naked and is in some kind of crazy lab. It's not that bad though, because she breaks out immediately, only to find herself in an abandoned Raccoon City. End credits. Talk about overcomplicating something that was practically handed to you on a silver platter. I understand this movie just fine. It's not a case of me not getting it. It's a case of Resident Evil 1 and 2 already being interactive action horror movies that would take practically no effort to directly adapt into a film. I'm all for people adding their own flair to an adaptation, that's what makes it interesting, but this is quite literally not the same story in the slightest. Key elements, yeah, but no. Look, I've played the Resident Evil games. I know that when you're playing one, sooner or later you're going to end up in a lab, but the lab is usually where you finish. This movie is like 90% lab. They zeroed in on the least interesting and least scary part of the Resident Evil games. It feels really cheeky of them to have this big mansion at the start of the movie, but we don't get to explore any of it, and it's not full of zombies. They played the game, right? That's like the part even non-fans know about, the creepy mansion. Now look, let's pretend that I don't know anything about Resident Evil, the games. Why would I enjoy this movie? Aside from Michelle Rodriguez, of course. The story is just not that interesting. The characters even less so. I don't care about anyone here. I couldn't tell you a single personality trait of these guys. This guy was the only one where I was like, okay, maybe there's something to him, but he got killed immediately. Sometimes it's hard not to sound a bit like a wannabe director when you say the script was horrible, but I really do think it sucked. There's no depth to anything, and if this was a bit of a sillier movie, that wouldn't really matter too much. But this is definitely trying to do something kinda serious. You know, not Lincoln serious, but it's not exactly Evil Dead 2 either. And let's say I wanted to watch this because I'm after a horror movie. While it's not devoid of horror conventions, I wouldn't exactly say it's scary. The security system being a young English girl really bothered me. Nobody wants to hear that ridiculous accent. In fact, all of the zombies looked pretty British. I gotta address the liquor in the room. What is this outfit? Look, I'm all for people looking stylish and potentially sexy while they're fighting zombies. But this is the cheapest, tackiest dress that you could have possibly put her in. Is it ever explained why the only clothes she has to wear was this cheap dress? I mean, aside from the obvious, I mean like an in-universe explanation. Milla Jovovich threatens to kiss Michelle Rodriguez at one point. The only thing I can really say in this movie's favor is that I do think there's some decent zombie scenes. The action can be enjoyable. I love seeing people just punch zombies. Like not hitting them with a bat or anything, just straight up one-banging them. Pair that with some old school rave music and the 2002 aura that the movie is drenched in, and it can be an alright time. I mean, visually it's class. Everything either looks like an old nu metal music video or a futuristic PS2 commercial. It's crazy how a fairly low-budget movie like this has way more source than something that came out today on more than 3 times that money. And I'm saying this in comparison to Resident Evil. The bar is so low. Special effects wise, I'd say it does pretty good. The dogs look fantastic, and though I don't condone kicking them in the face, that scene looked killer. Obviously, it does need to be said that the liquors are, say it with me folks, a product of their time. But like a lot of those movies from the early 2000s, they use a healthy blend of CGI and practical effects to create something that I think still holds up. And you know what, the occasional shot can look very dated, but it kind of moves like that robot from RoboCop, and I like that. This is the only one that I'd seen before today. Now, that first viewing was about 5 years ago drunk at 2 a.m. in a Discord call, which we all know is the optimal way to watch a movie. I was anticipating this either being far better because I'm sober, or far worse because I'm sober. Turns out it didn't change a goddamn thing. There just ain't much to this. I was at least a bit interested by the ending though, as they were clearly teasing a Resident Evil 3 adaptation. The zombie outbreak has spread from the Hive to the nearby Raccoon City. Naturally, Umbrella quarantined this bitch. The mayor addresses the residents and is like, you're all gonna die, okay, see ya. This mayor is the head of Umbrella, so naturally he is evil. Jill Valentine, who I immediately fell in love with upon her introduction, is trying to evacuate the Raccoon City Police Department, but eventually she's just got to get out of there because there's too many zombies. Members of the STARS police unit have become holed up in a building and are joined by a comic relief character played by Mike Epps. These guys eat shit when Umbrella deploys Nemesis, you know, from the game. Nemesis comes down and kills everybody except for Mike Epps, he's okay. 2 other members of STARS called Carlos and Nikolai become split from the rest of the unit, and we follow their journey through the streets as well. Jill Valentine and a little group which includes her fellow officer and a news reporter get holed up in a church, and they're being attacked by lickers, oh no! Enter Milla Jovovich, who slams into the church on a motorbike and fights off the lickers with more badass karate moves. Hang on a second. Milla Jovovich and Jill Valentine on the same team? Can these 2 badasses coexist? No, they can't, because from this point onwards, only Milla Jovovich will do anything cool, and Jill Valentine becomes a bit of a chump. But not to me. After some nonsense, the gang are contacted by Jared Harris from TV's Chernobyl. Is that still on? Jared Harris is a doctor who created the motherfucking T-virus. But it wasn't because he was evil, he was just trying to find a cure for his daughter's illness. That daughter is currently in Raccoon City right now, so Jared Harris asks our heroes to find his daughter Angela, in exchange for a safe way out of the city. He also explains that Umbrella plans to nuke the place sooner rather than later. On the way to Angela, the gang get ambushed by Nemesis. Milla Jovovich deals with that pretty easily enough though. She does a big jump over a fence. Nemesis does a slightly less impressive jump. and the badasses lose Nemesis. They find Angela, who explains the whole T-virus nonsense and shows that she has a copy of the antivirus right here. The gang journey to the rendezvous point so they can escape, but they've been ambushed by Umbrella Corp and the mayor. And the mayor is like, okay, Milla Jovovich, I want to see you fight Nemesis from the video game, which is like, why? Why does he want to see this? Anyway, they fight and it's goofy. It's really goofy. But Milla Jovovich realizes that, wait, this Nemesis guy is actually a mutated version of White Guy from the last movie. And she looks at his eye and is like, oh no, what have I done? So of course Nemesis turns babyface and attacks Umbrella Corp in order to save Milla Jovovich and the gang, heroically sacrificing himself. The gang escapes while leaving the mayor to be devoured by a Jared Harris zombie. Everything looks okay, but as promised, Umbrella nuke Raccoon City. The chopper goes out of control and a bit of debris is heading straight for the kid, but Milla Jovovich, the badass, she blocks it and gets impaled before the helicopter crashes in the forest. When Umbrella show up to the wreckage, only one body is found. Milla goddamn Jovovich. The film ends with Milla Jovovich waking up naked. She's in a lab and is greeted by Ian Glenn from TV's Game of Thrones. Is that still on? Anyway, much like last time, she escapes, but in the process, she makes a guy bleed out of every orifice in his face. Like, she's got straight up super psychic powers now, and she makes a guy bleed from his eyes, nose, mouth, and ears. Anyway, Carlos, Jill, Angela, and Mike Epps dress up in Umbrella uniforms to sneak into the facility, get Milla Jovovich back, and Ian Glenn just lets it happen. Like, he just tells everyone who is on guard and perfectly capable of capturing them, just tells them to let her go. But that's because it's all part of the plan. Now, Apocalypse doesn't really have the aura that the first film has, but it makes up for that by being a slightly better movie. Now, it's not that good, steady now, but it's a step in the right direction. This one is all over the place, which is actually refreshing and I think works to its benefit, especially after how small the first one felt. We're going all around town, focusing on multiple different groups of people, and by God, some of these people actually have character traits. The first movie, goddamn, that was like the blank slate convention or something. There's like actual characters with personalities and goals here. Jill, disgraced cop who wants to do the right thing. Jared Harris, regretful father who will do anything for his child. He breaks down crying for God's sake. I mean, damn, even though he's just a comic relief, Mike Epps is a character. You know, there's actually something to chew on here. I mean, there's a scene where he's like sort of turned on by like zombie tits and yeah, I have to talk about Nemesis because he is a big part of this movie. And let's just say it's not how I would have done it. I will say it is cool that he's practical because, goddamn, can you imagine if he looked like the Lickers? But this does mean that he looks rubbery, stiff, and Super Sentai-esque. In the game, when Nemesis attacks you out of nowhere, it's like a freight train hurtling towards you. It feels like a life or death situation. This kind of felt like Doctor Who. The fight between him and Milla Jovovich cannot be taken seriously. I don't know if I was just conditioned by Silent Hill Revelations and what they did with Pyramid Head in that film, but about halfway through the movie, I said to myself, he's gonna turn babyface, isn't he? So when it happened, I wasn't even shocked. Anyways, the execution was goofy, but I've got to hand it to the crew for making him say, "Stars," exactly like he does in the game. The script still ain't great, but it's better than the previous for sure. But dialogue-wise, we still definitely have a few stinkers. Jill legitimately says to Milla Jovovich, "Those were some pretty slick moves back there." Like, that is the joke dialogue that you write in a parody of an action movie. The scene with the mayor when he's talking to the people is some of the worst ADR I've ever seen in a film. Just look.
Use of live ammunition has been authorized.
And once again, why is there another little English kid? I don't want to be hearing that accent. The film looks alright. Like, I've already spoke about Nemesis and the practical effects used for him, but the Lickers are now fully CGI and they look worse. Legitimately, the ones in the first movie looked so much better. Maybe I just really wanted something different from the first film, or maybe I was simply so early into the marathon that I had a more open mind. but I enjoyed this one. Once again, I'm not saying this is necessarily a good movie, but as for me personally, I wasn't bored, I didn't want it to hurry up and end, and I was left excited for the next one. Did you see that shit that Mila Jovovich did? She made a guy bleed out of every hole in his head. That is so absurd that I have to find out what happened here. Mila Jovovich wakes up naked in a mansion. What the flip? Haven't we been here before? She journeys through the Umbrella Corporation hive, but is killed by a security trap. What? Her body is then taken away and dumped into a pile of Mila Jovovich clones. Somewhere in the desert. What the heck is going on? Just a heads up, we are full-on Mad Maxing in this one. The T-virus and the subsequent panic has left America and the rest of the world in ruin, so get used to the desert, because we ain't going anywhere else. Wait a second, the Mojave Desert? Post-apocalyptic times? You're kidding. The real Mila Jovovich is wandering the desert because fuck your friends, I guess. And she gets kidnapped, but after killing those people, she finds a notebook that implies that there is an uninfected area which will be safe from the infection. Unfortunately, this is in Alaska, of all places. Across the desert, a convoy of survivors is being led by Carlos, Mike Epps, who are both from the last movie, remember, and Clear Motherfucking Rivers from Final Destination. This is actually Claire Redfield, who is from the games. Isn't it weird that we're 3 movies in, and Chris Redfield, who you could argue is the main character of Resident Evil, still has not even been mentioned once. There is another prominent character on this convoy, a teenage girl whose name is... No, I'm letting you guys guess. Take a guess. What do you think her name is? And I promise you'll get it wrong. Do it, I'm serious, do it. Her name is fucking Kmart. Like the store. Huh? Anyway, these guys are patrolling the Mojave Desert in search of safety from the zombies. Mike Epps gets bitten by one of these, but he doesn't tell anyone. I hope this doesn't backfire later. One day the convoy is attacked by evil birds. These birds just won't quit, and before it's too late, Mila Jovovich comes out of nowhere and uses her psychic powers to save everybody from the birds. She reunites with Carlos, and there's absolutely no mention of Jill or the tiny girl from the last movie, so I guess they don't matter. Mila Jovovich explains that she had to leave the group from the last film because Umbrella are tracking her with a big satellite and she didn't want to put anyone else in danger. Umbrella are able to do this because they put devices in her. They put cybernetic superpowers in her that can connect to a satellite and read her location and shit. But now that she's here, Mila Jovovich tries to convince the convoy to make way to Alaska in hopes of sanctuary, and everyone decides that's a good idea. Ian Glenn, who showed up at the end of the last movie, is the head of Umbrella's North American division and is trying to domesticate the undead. He's a bit of a loose cannon, so Albert Wesker, that's right, motherfucking Wesker is here, guys. And he tells his subordinates to keep tabs on him. The convoy go to Vegas, baby! And they are ambushed by zombies sent by Umbrella because they now know exactly where Mila Jovovich is. Mike Epps has gone full zombie, and in the commotion he bites Carlos, who decides to sacrifice himself and blow up the zombies along with himself. But not before smoking a fat blunt he finds in a car. Yeah! Mila Jovovich is glitching out because Ian Glenn is trying to disable her, cybernetic, I don't get it. But she fights back and finds him in a tent somewhere. But the villain manages to escape after being bitten. I'm glad the zombies are actually still impacting things in the story. By now I thought they would have just become a non-issue. Mila Jovovich and Kmart follow Ian Glenn to the hideout, and Mila Jovovich goes inside. She encounters a white version of the AI from the first movie who explains that Ian Glenn's infection has caused a mutation and has turned him into a monster which is lurking in the underground lab. She also explains that Mila Jovovich's blood, as a result of the T-virus that she has in her, can provide the antivirus for the T-virus. Mila Jovovich journeys deeper into the lab and encounters a clone of herself. Obviously, we saw a lot of clones earlier, but this one is in a bubble. No time for that though, because Ian Glenn appears and good God, he looks like shit. He fights Mila Jovovich, and I'm not kidding, they end up in a replica of the laser hallway from the first movie. It's going to be another log situation, isn't it? This is literally the only legacy of those movies. I'm not kidding. Like, the only time I ever see that first movie talked about is when it's the laser hallway. That's the only thing that these movies, like the entire series, that has stayed in the public consciousness. Anyway, out of nowhere, the lasers do that waffle move that killed the one guy and slice Ian Glenn into little pieces, but it stops before it can slice Mila Jovovich. This is because it's being controlled by Mila Jovovich's bubble clone. The day is saved, and the two Jovoviches, that sounds like an old circus act from the 1800s, doesn't it? Look on as hundreds of clones reveal themselves inside the facility. Now, this was a pretty dull watch, but what an absurd ending. Now, this is one where the plot started to anger me a little. Why did Ian Glenn let Mila Jovovich go at the end of the last movie? When he did that, he was all like, oh, it's all part of the plan, don't worry, let her go, this is what we need to happen. But now he clearly wants her back, and it's clearly a problem that she is not here, to the point where she's being tracked and they actively pursue her when the satellite picks up her signal. Seems like a silly thing to do. He is obviously desperate to get her back in this movie because he needs her for his, the T-virus thing. He needs it for his plan. Why did he let her go? I watched every scene with him in again just to see if there was something that I missed. Absolutely nothing. Also, Ian Glenn says at one point that he is 62% sure that the use of psychic powers that they saw in the desert were by Mila Jovovich. When has anyone in the history of science and data analytics been 62% sure of something? Even Wesker is like, what are you talking about? Obviously, this is the desert in the mid-2000s, so you know what that means. Saturation is way up, and color grading is set to yellow. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 called... hello? Yeah? Okay. Alright. Sorry, that was my old college friend, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. He's named after his father, actually. Anyway, the dogs are back. They still look pretty good. Like, anytime they show up in these movies, they probably look alright. I actually like how that bubble looks. The one that has the Mila Jovovich clone in. On the other hand, though, the Ian Glenn monster, I'm actually going to say he looks better than Nemesis. Not design-wise, like, Nemesis is a fantastic visual concept for an enemy, but obviously the finished product just didn't look that great in the movie. But it looks like he could move more, that's the main thing. He looks a lot more mobile than Nemesis did. I cannot give any praise to the CGI, though. This one shot of Ian Glenn shooting finger tentacles made me question what I was doing, just in general. Before killing Mila Jovovich, the Ian Glenn monster proclaims, "For so long I thought you were the future. I was wrong. I am the future." And Mila Jovovich laughs and says, "No, you're just another asshole." This was the first one that I found pretty boring. Partially the fatigue setting in, and partially because it's just desert constantly. I mean, I like a desert setting, but you've got to use it right. This was less Trigun, more Bay Transformers, with a little bit of Quantum of Solace in there too. I do find the intro pretty cool though, and I love Vegas in anything. Big Vegas fan me. It's a shame that it was basically submerged in sand, so not much could really happen there apart from another zombie swarm. Now, once again, the ending was so crazy that it made me excited for the next one, but this time, my excitement was paired with a sense of trepidation. The introduction of clones really concerned me. I mean, I've played Kingdom Hearts. I know what chaos is unleashed to a narrative when you introduce clones into the world. But we were past the halfway point, and I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. Or so I thought. When I started what I thought was going to be the fourth Resident Evil movie, Resident Evil Retribution, something immediately felt wrong. It was right in the middle of a huge airship battle, and Jill was there, but with her Resident Evil 5 design. Mila Jovovich was doing a recap of the previous movies, but she was talking about stuff that didn't make any sense to me. I knew something was wrong and I paused the movie. To my absolute horror, I had made a mistake. I had been under the assumption that there were 5 Resident Evil movies. I have no godly idea why I thought that. But that's the reality I was living in. I was wrong. There are 6 Resident Evil movies. For some reason, the collection I had was missing 2010's Resident Evil Afterlife. This was a major blow to my psyche, because I had mentally prepared myself for 5 movies. Now, I get it may not seem like much, but another movie, especially one that threatened to be as boring as the previous one, was really not what I needed. But now I remembered, people used to have to be conscripted to war, and thought, hey, my life's not too bad. Bought a copy of the movie from an evil corporation and gritted my teeth. The film begins with the Mila Jovovich clone army leading an assault on the Tokyo headquarters of Umbrella Corporation, where she finds... Who the fuck is that? That's not Wesker. We saw him in the last movie. That ain't the same guy. Yeah, they recast Wesker, but honestly, you have no idea how much of an upgrade this is. This guy's fucking hilarious. Anyways, Wesker tries to escape, but Mila Jovovich hijacks his plane. Wesker then injects Mila Jovovich with a serum that nullifies the T-virus and takes away her superpowers. She just lets this happen, walks up to him and he just stabs her in the neck. Wesker reveals he also injected himself with the T-virus, so now he's got superpowers. They crash into a mountain. Wesker presumably dies? Maybe? 6-month time skip. Yep, we're just gonna move straight on from that. Mila Jovovich has traveled to Alaska and has been trying to find a place called Arcadia, where she has been getting radio signals from. She lands on an island with a bunch of abandoned planes and helicopters. She also finds a feral Claire Redfield. Claire is this little bug robot thing on her which has given her amnesia and made her crazy. Anyway, Mila Jovovich and Claire fly over Los Angeles and find an SOS signal, so they follow it and crash the plane. The building is an abandoned prison, and the survivors include a famous basketball player called Luther, a guy who definitely won't turn heel later, and a woman named Crystal Waters. They know there's already a Crystal Waters, like Gypsy Woman. Why would you call her that? Mila Jovovich then finds out that Arcadia is actually a boat which is along the coast, and as well as this is led to a prisoner that the survivors have been keeping called Chris Goddamn Redfield. Took 4 movies. Chris Redfield is played by Wentworth Miller from TV's Prison Break. Is that still on? He says that he's Claire's brother, but Claire has amnesia, so she doesn't believe him. Mila Jovovich takes a shower, but one of the survivors is a peeping Tom. He gets what he deserves, though, as he's killed by zombies, which have broken into the prison. Zombies are coming in fast, and they're accompanied by the Axeman from Resident Evil 5. He just shows up. So they free Chris, who says he knows a way out. The guy who totally isn't going to turn heel turns heel and takes the plane to the Arcadia boat by himself, and everyone really wants him to die, but he doesn't. Mila Jovovich and the Redfields take a zombie tunnel to get to the Arcadia anyway, and conveniently Claire remembers at that moment that the Arcadia was a big ruse. It's a big trap by Umbrella, and this is where they stole people to use as test subjects, one of those test subjects being Kmart. The Redfields free some of the test subjects while Mila Jovovich discovers that Wesker is alive! I mean, of course he was. It was pretty obvious when you didn't see his corpse. The guy who totally was always going to turn heel was there too, and it's been upgraded to full-blown stooge. Reminds me of the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. You know that one guy. Wesker, and this scene really got a kick out of me, explains that the T-virus, though it revived him, is now fighting for control over his body. But he believes that he can solve this problem by eating people. He has been eating so many of the test subjects on the ship that it is implied that the crew have all abandoned him because of it. But because she's a badass, he thinks that eating Mila Jovovich may save him once and for all.
I ingest you.
Mila Jovovich says, "I'm not on the menu." They all have a big fight in this white-ass room. Mutant dogs, Mutant Wesker, Kmart, Chris Redfield in a tube, Mila Jovovich kicking glass. And this is about the point I was really losing my grip on reality. Wesker tries to make a quick getaway, but oops! There's a bomb on the plane. It fucking explodes. But eagle-eyed fans will notice Wesker parachuting out to safety shortly after. The heroes are happy and they send out a new radio broadcast, a legit one this time, calling for survivors to join them on the Arcadia. In the post-credits scene, Jill Valentine, who is blonde and evil now, and has one of the bugs on her chest, leads an attack on the Arcadia, and it is not looking good for the heroes. First of all, this movie looks noticeably more ugly than any of the other movies. So many shots look unreal, sloppy, disorganized, murky, and just stupid. Here's a slideshow of my favorite ones set to clown music. It's up there with Final Destination 4, honestly, and that is something that you do not want to be compared to visually. Or in any capacity, really. Speaking of that, this movie came out in 2010, so you know what that means. 3D, tons of silly 3D fucking bullshit that looks awful. I used to find it funny, but it's gone too far now. Mila Jovovich's bullets are like loaded with coins, so every time she shoots a zombie, bam, 3D coins everywhere. The white interior of the boat looks striking at first, but very quickly becomes ugly, sterile, and fake. I can't help but think they're all trapped inside of a Nintendo Direct. This is the movie where a lot of the zombies, they will mutate and they'll grow out like mouth tentacle claws, which make them look even worse because they're all CGI and they just fucking, oh. Even the dogs get this and they always look good in these movies. How the mighty have fallen. Overall, this looks like something you'd see on the History Channel. And story-wise, I found this boring as fuck. Most of the movie takes place in the prison, which is not a very inspiring setting. You can't really do too much with this. We're back at the blank slate convention as well, because goddamn, the characters are a whole load of nothing to latch onto. Guy, pervert, guy, lady. The guy who turns heel at least has a character trait. You know, he has a character to some degree, but it's the most surface level chicken shit rat snitch turncoat character that you have seen in any other movie. Even Chris goddamn Redfield is a whole load of nothing. I mean, look, Chris isn't exactly oozing with personality in the games, not at all really, but I'm too busy playing as him for that to be a big issue. Meanwhile, with the movie, I'm doing fuck all, I'm just watching the guy, so he's gotta have something about him. The removal of Mila Jovovich's superpowers, fuck me. Well, first of all, I actually didn't even realize she'd lost them because you watch the movie, and she's still badass, like she's still doing everything imaginable. She's not creating force fields or anything, but she's still moving like a super soldier. Wesker just takes him away in the laziest way possible at the start of the movie, like surely there was a more natural way of doing this. How would she let this happen to herself? She's supposed to be amazing. Why didn't they take Claire to the boat too? Why would you leave her? Reduce the risk of Mila Jovovich, who you know is still knocking about because you keep letting her go, rescue Claire, and potentially cause problems for you later. Why would you leave that loose end untied? I am aware that she kicks her way out of two goons and runs away, but like, she's not Mila Jovovich. You can definitely capture her. Fuck it, send Wesker. Send a mutant dog. She gets reduced to some sort of brainless feral animal because of this bug thing. Fuck it, just get rid of her entirely. I know it's a movie. You know, sometimes things just need to happen for the story, and that's fine. But Wesker in the last movie wanted 100% certainty when he was doing something, so I don't believe that he would let this slide. He should have ate her.
I ingest you.
My favorite part of the movie and the only thing I really enjoyed was Wesker, but I like him purely because he's funny as shit, and I can't take him seriously. Why did they make him want to eat people? Why did they have to make him want to eat people? Did we need 2 fake out deaths for Wesker in the same movie? Why would you show that he survived that at the end? If you're going to bring him back with the next movie, that's fine, but at least leave us, you know, thinking that he might be dead between movies. Like, Wesker is maybe the most awesome character in the game, so he should have been pretty easy to adapt, but they've really fumbled him. And look, Wesker is ridiculous in the games too, but he's still sort of badass and truly evil. This guy's a chump. This is the movie where I was repeatedly asking myself the question, who are these movies for? Like, who are they for, really? They're not scary at all, so I wouldn't say a horror fan would enjoy them. The action has been pretty lacking since the first movie, so I don't think action movie heads would love them. Hell, if you love gore, you sick freak, then there's not enough of that to satisfy you either. So naturally you think, okay, these are made for the fans of the Resident Evil games. That should be the obvious conclusion. People like me. But since the beginning, these movies have not given a fuck about the games. They will put in Nemesis, they will put in a guy called Chris Redfield, but the story is very much its own thing, separate from the games. Milla Jovovich and her character is a completely original creation, and she is the fucking movie franchise. Ian Glenn's character is an original creation. Wesker is drastically different from the games. I don't even think that you could say a fan of the games would love these because the resemblance to the games is surface level. But this really doesn't matter because we gotta be budget conscious about this. Clearly, people liked these movies. And you wanna know why? Resident Evil, budget of $33 million, made $103 million at the box office. Resident Evil Apocalypse, budget of $45 million, made $129 million. Resident Evil Extinction, budget of $45 million, made $145 million. Resident Evil Afterlife, budget of $60 million, and I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw this, made $300 million at the box office. These were highly profitable. Forget breaking even, these made 5 times its budget. And they suck. What is going on? I said these were for no one, but these were clearly for a lot of people back in the day. Hang on a second, why is it called Afterlife? The second one is called Apocalypse. That makes sense, because the start of the spread of the disease, this will cause the apocalypse. Third is called Extinction. Sure, the world is facing extinction, as there are very few people left. Why Afterlife for this one? Why? Because Wesker came back from the dead? Is it because while watching this, I entered my own afterlife? This one tested me like no other. The despair that I felt when I learnt that I had not 2, but 3 more movies to go was a lot. But I was hoping that the movie would be ridiculous enough to the point that it would soften the blow. All this did was turn my sadness into anger. I actively wanted to turn this one off. The others were pretty lame, but this one I actually thought was offensively bad. The last one was edging offensively bad, but it frankly didn't do enough for me to really take issue with it. But now, at this point, I've seen too many explosions, I've seen too many zombies, I've seen too much Jovovich. I'm flagging now. Picking up immediately where we left off, which is quite rare for these movies, the Umbrella Soldiers led by evil Jill Valentine attack the Arcadia ship, and it's not looking very good at all, as Milla Jovovich is captured. But then we cut to Milla Jovovich, but now she's a suburban mum type who has a deaf daughter and is married to Carlos? I thought you were dead. Anyway, zombies attack and they flee the house with the help of Michelle Rodriguez? I thought you were dead. They try to escape, but the car gets totaled and Michelle Rodriguez might be dead, but Milla Jovovich takes her daughter to another house and is swiftly killed by a zombie. I wonder what this all means. The real Milla Jovovich wakes up naked and is being interrogated by evil Jill Valentine. You can tell she's evil because she's blonde now. There's some sort of technical issue though, which causes the security system to deactivate, allowing Milla Jovovich to escape. After equipping some cool body armor, she finds herself in Shibuya Square, Tokyo. Not really though, it's just a super realistic simulation, and she's quickly swarmed by some zombies, which Milla Jovovich manages to escape with some sick moves. She moves on to another white room, but this time she is ambushed by Chinese-American spy Ada Wong from the games. Milla Jovovich is gonna kill her because she already knows that she works for Wesker, and by extension, Umbrella. But fucking Wesker appears on a monitor and is like, I've gone rogue. Yes, it was Albert fucking Wesker who disabled the security system and allowed Milla Jovovich to escape, as he wants her to join forces with him. This can't be right. Wesker? A goodie? Milla Jovovich begrudgingly agrees when she learns that the facility she is in is an underground, undersea base in Russia, which houses several fake environments that Umbrella have been using to test out the T-virus on clones in order to demonstrate this to other countries, creating an arms race for biological weapons around the globe. We needed more of this in the other movies, because what the hell, this is way more interesting than anything else I have talked about. Wesker has also arranged for a strike team to come and aid with the rescue mission. Isn't that what aid is for? This strike team is comprised of Luther, the basketball player from the last movie who actually did survive, Barry Burton, a character from the first Resident Evil game, and Leon fucking Kennedy, arguably the most popular Resident Evil protagonist of them all. We are going all in with the video game fan service this time. These guys plant some bombs at the facility's entrance, and in 2 hours the place will fucking explode, and Milla Jovovich needs to hurry up. They're all going to meet up in the suburban simulation that we saw at the start of the movie. But on the way, Milla Jovovich and Ada Wong fight off 2 of the executioner guys with the axes in New York. And the boys get swarmed inside of a Moscow simulation. Now here is some crazy shit. The Jovovich-Wong connection make it to the suburban sim. And they find the fake daughter of the clone Milla Jovovich at the start of the movie. And she's like, "Mama," and tags along with them. Huh? Even better, evil Jill Valentine shows up with evil clones of Michelle Rodriguez, Carlos, and the guy who got killed by the laser hallway in the first goddamn Resident Evil movie. There is even fan service for the fans of the movies specifically. All 4 of you. Everybody gets into a shootout and Ada tells Milla Jovovich and the kid to escape into the Moscow simulation. So they do, and they run into the good clone of Michelle Rodriguez. What is going on? This is so much like Kingdom Hearts. Milla Jovovich rescues Leon's gang of misfits from a giant licker in a big car chase, but the child gets captured by the licker and the good Michelle Rodriguez gets killed, but Milla Jovovich makes quick work of this licker and saves the kid. Barry sacrifices himself so the gang can escape, but just when they think they're out of the woods, evil Jill Valentine and her evil submarine intercept them, holding Ada Wong hostage. Goddamn, she must be freezing. Anyway, everyone gets in on some good old-fashioned fighting. Evil Michelle Rodriguez is super powerful now because of the parasite. She kills Luther and knocks out Leon. Milla Jovovich just accepts that she is too damn strong, so she shoots the ice from under her and drowns evil Michelle Rodriguez. She also gets the evil mind control robot bug off of Jill Valentine, so now she is good Jill Valentine. Thank God that is over. Everyone gets out of there. Leon puts his whole hand on Ada's thigh. She removes it, clearly uncomfortable. What the fuck was that? What? That happens exactly how I explained it. Look at this. What the? Huh? We're not done yet, because Milla Jovovich is being taken to Washington, D.C. to see who? Albert Wesker in the Oval Office. Wesker injects Milla Jovovich with the T-virus so she can get her superhuman abilities back. What? Why did you take them away? He does this because the Red Queen, which was the British girl security system from the first movie, is trying to cause an extinction-level event to wipe out humanity, and he needs to assemble the Resident Evil All-Stars to take her down. Leon Kennedy, Ada Wong, Jill Valentine, himself, and Milla Jovovich. End credits. The introduction of clones into a story can be the straw that breaks the camel's back in terms of stakes and believability. It's not a case of suspending disbelief because goddamn did you see anything that I just talked about. This is a case of now the story can pretty much do anything. Michelle Rodriguez died in that first movie. We got clones to bring her back. Carlos died in the third movie. We got clones to bring him back. In every way possible, the story has gotten more ridiculous, and I am happy. Like I said, this film is definitely more heavy on some fan service than the previous ones. It's not just, here's a guy called Chris Redfield. No, Ada Wong quite literally looks like she's been ripped straight out of the game. You know what? She actually sounds like she comes straight from the game too. Now, Ada Wong may be played on screen by Chinese actress Li Bingbing, but all of her lines are done by her video game voice actress. Now, you may think that this will be rough, but I'd actually say it's fairly seamless. Hell, it's not even the worst ADR in this movie.
We have a traitor in this facility.
Leon. Look, I just want to make it clear that I'm actually not trying to be rude to the actor who played Leon Kennedy here. No disrespect. Handsome guy. But he is not Leon. Much like how that guy from Prison Break really isn't Chris. Oh yeah, Chris is just gone, by the way. Just forget about him. Look, though, I should cut him some slack because Leon Kennedy in Resident Evil 4 is like top 10, maybe top 5 most beautiful people ever. It's almost impossible to live up to that standard. But I'm 100% sure he hasn't got a beard. And more offensive is that he does nothing except be a pervert, I guess. Like, Leon is the action movie star of Resident Evil. He is the one that you would put in a movie like Mission Impossible or fucking Taken, I don't know. He is the one that you would put in a movie. After 4 installments, they finally put him in a movie, and he's just some guy. Visually, this is still a cheap clusterfuck, and I could flash up dozens of dodgy-looking frames on screen without breaking a sweat. But I will concede that it is marginally less ugly than the last, and overall was not the eyesore that I just experienced. So obviously I do still have some problems with this one. It is the same old nonsense. But what this movie had on its side was humor. Not intentional humor. I am sure that Paul W.S. Anderson wanted these to be taken with a modicum of seriousness, but I was laughing throughout the whole thing, which made it very entertaining. Anything with Wesker, of course, had me cracking up. Him explaining what a biodome is and how, like, fake climates work, incredible.
Wind, rain, they can even make it snow if they want to.
The absurdity of seeing these clones pop up constantly, especially the guy from the first movie. Like, man, we have moved so far beyond you. Like, what are you doing here? Ada explains how she got into the facility and says, I executed everyone in the control room. Look at this shit. Middle of the room, must be what, at least 6, probably more, fully armored guards. She takes them out like it's nothing without even moving an inch. She's not even doing it that quick. She's got a pistol. Okay, this one really bothered me though. Why the fuck would the security holding cell that Mila Jovovich is trapped in have a little drawer compartment that opens up with body armor in it that perfectly fits her? Like, what? Were they planning this? Was this whole thing planned? Maybe? I'll get to that later. During one of the fights, there is a Mortal Kombat style X-ray move. I'm not kidding. Another moment in that fight sees Luthor whack Michelle Rodriguez with a fire extinguisher, and they edit a cartoon bonk sound into it. Listen! The Big Liquor chases some ridiculous bullshit. Evil Jill does an awesome backflip kick. And you know, to tell the truth, I actually rewatched that fight from the end of it a couple times because it's fucking awesome. And it made me realize and appreciate how many strong female characters are in these movies. Even though one of them seems to consistently start every single movie naked, but I will be honest, this has its own specific explanation, and surprisingly I have not touched upon it yet, but that's none of my business. It lent into how ridiculous the whole thing is, and it benefited greatly. I had fun. I really needed a pick-me-up after Resident Evil Afterlife, and thankfully this did the trick. So much shitty Resident Evil fan service, so many ridiculous laugh-out-loud moments, absurd action, Michelle Rodriguez, Wesker in the Oval Office. I needed this. And the way it's like got that sort of end game, like everyone's here, sort of feeling to it, you would have thought that this would be the end of the franchise. It feels like it could be that. But there's still one more to go. The movie starts with some lore. Dr. James Marcus, the founder of the Umbrella Corporation, had a daughter called Alicia, who is unfortunately very sick. Thankfully, he is able to steal the T-virus from our old pal Jared Harris and use it on his daughter, which cures her. The drug was then administered to other patients around the world. We then see one of those patients, a young boy, pass out in a cable car and turn into a zombie. Clearly, this T-virus is bad news. I mean, for some people at least, the girl seems fine. And Marcus wants the project to end immediately as soon as he knows that this has happened. But you know who doesn't? Ian Glenn. Even though I know this is a flashback, as soon as I saw his goddamn face, I knew exactly what was going to happen later on. Anyway, with the help of fucking Wesker, yeah, that's right, Wesker, Ian Glenn kills this guy, becomes legal guardian of the girl Alicia, and takes over Umbrella Corporation. We then jump 10 years later and are once again explained everything that has happened since then. I think it says a lot about the story that we have had to have a complete recap of it for 2 films straight. We go to the present where Mila Jovovich wakes up with clothes on this time, but now the White House doesn't have any clothes on because it's in ruins. How did this happen? Wesker has betrayed her. You did that off screen? Between movies? You didn't show us? Seems like a pretty pivotal moment to not show on screen. Yes, it's true, Wesker's plan in the last movie was all a trick, so he could, I guess, get everyone together and just and trick them? What happened to Jill, Ada, Leon? It doesn't matter, you're never going to see him again. Suddenly, the Red Queen security system from the first movie appears and tells Mila Jovovich that in 48 hours, all of humanity are going to die. Like, all of the remaining humans on Earth are going to die in exactly 48 hours. How does she know this? How do you know that? Like, I get that you're a computer, so you might be able to, run an algorithm. But how is it exactly 48 hours? Anyway, there's still some hope left because there is an antivirus for the T-virus which is going to be released to kill all the zombies once everyone is dead, so that those in power can restart life. This means Mila Jovovich must set out for Raccoon City to go to the Hive laboratory to get the antivirus before everyone dies and release it into the world. Now, because she obviously has the T-virus within her, she will die too. At least that's how the Red Queen explains it. On the way to Raccoon City, she finds an armored vehicle, and you won't fucking believe it, Ian Glenn is inside. Yes, he is alive and well because the one in Resident Evil Extinction who got killed was a clone. After some scuffling, she makes it to Raccoon City, and she runs into her old friend Claire Redfield, who is completely absent from the previous movie, and there's no mention of Chris. She was too busy meeting new friends, and these guys make the Resident Evil Afterlife crew feel like the most fleshed out 4-dimensional characters ever put to screen. I'm not even going to give them the dignity of having names. Anyways, Ian Glenn is like a religious, cult freak now, and he leads a bunch of zombies to Raccoon City, but the gang hold them off and presumably take care of Ian Glenn, and they proceed to enter the Hive. Many people perish on the way there, and the Red Queen informs Mila Jovovich that someone in her group right now is working for Umbrella secretly. She also shows a video of Ian Glenn explaining to a boardroom that he is going to intentionally release the T-virus across the world to kill humanity, so that all the rich and powerful can come back to the surface. After awakening from a cryogenic sleep inside the stasis tube, which is where they are all currently. They explore the Hive and members of the gang start dropping like flies, but Mila Jovovich and this guy called Doc, I will give him a name because I don't give a fuck, he turns on her later, journey deep into the base, planting some explosives which should go off later. They eventually find, I'm not fucking kidding, Ian Glenn, but not the one from earlier. No, this is the original Ian Glenn. So yes, there have been at least 2 clones of him roaming around on the surface while the real one has been down here. And this Ian Glenn is technologically upgraded too, so he is a badass, just like Mila Jovovich. Mila Jovovich wants to take him down, but turns out that Doc is the turncoat who was working for Umbrella all along. Claire Redfield enters the room as she's been captured by fucking Wesker, who is just a full-on stooge for Ian Glenn now. I thought he was going to be the top heel. Now here's where it gets even better. Ian Glenn explains that Mila Jovovich is a clone. Who is she a clone of, you may ask? The kid from the start of the movie, who Ian Glenn became guardian of, who is now rapidly aged due to the T-virus and is wheelchair-bound. And she just appears out of nowhere. Ian Glenn then explains that Mila Jovovich is a clone created from her and basically did not exist before the mansion, which explains why she had amnesia. This lady is also what the Red Queen is based on, so there's technically 3 Mila Jovoviches. There's the old one, there's the badass one, and there's the security system. The old Mila Jovovich is against Ian Glenn and wants to take him down, but he explains that it's worthless and calls them all bitches.
The trinity of bitches.
Old Mila Jovovich explains that she can't hurt Ian Glenn using the Red Queen because he owns 50% of the company, meaning he's not an employee. But Wesker is just an employee, so she fires him and he gets crushed by a door. Wesker is then given a detonation device that's gonna blow up the hive if he lets go. Seems pretty risky, don't you think? What if he releases it right now and kills all of you? Doc tries to kill Mila Jovovich, but in a very Saw-esque moment, she actually removed all of the bullets from his gun, knowing this betrayal would happen. Claire shoots him. He dies. A technologically superior Ian Glenn, Claire Redfield, and Mila Jovovich have a ridiculous fight which leads them to, I'm not fucking kidding, the laser hallway from the first movie. Final Destination logs, you have met your fucking match. Mila Jovovich fights him and gets her fingers cut off, but she blows him up with a hidden grenade that she puts in his pocket. Mila Jovovich makes it to the surface with the antivirus, and just before she can release it to the world, the technologically superior Ian Glenn shows up again, because I guess he's fine. But if he's fine after being blown up, who is possibly going to take him down? Himself. The clone Ian Glenn shows up with an army of zombies and upon seeing the original kills him in cold blood, claiming there can only be one.
I'm me. He's not me.
I'm me, he says.
He is then immediately eaten by zombies, but Mila Jovovich does what needs to be done and releases the antivirus, flattening down the thousands of zombies in front of her practically instantly. Look at this shit. Would this happen? Would this work this way? I don't think it would. At the exact same time, and I really do mean that, at the exact same time, how convenient, Wesker releases the switch and the place blows up, killing Mila Jovovich's old version and Wesker. Mila Jovovich falls to the ground, and her story comes to an end. Except it doesn't, because she gets back up again because the Red Queen lied and the antivirus only really destroyed the T-virus in her and it didn't affect her healthy cells. Fuck off. So she is absolutely fine. And the Red Queen uploads the childhood of the old Alicia, the original Mila Jovovich, into this clone so that now she has the childhood memories that she never got. Turn this shit off. The movies have now gone on for so long and brought back so many elements of reckless abandon that the plot is tripping over itself. Back in Extinction, Ian Glenn was not the head honcho of Umbrella. He was actually leading the North American division and was seemingly reporting to Wesker. He actively needed his permission to do things, and Wesker was literally appointing people to keep tabs on him so he didn't become a liability. We now know that that was a clone, so whatever. But did Wesker know that? Did Wesker know anything? Did he think that he ranked higher than Ian Glenn, or did he know it was a clone all along? The way that he talks about him within those movies, you would think that he wouldn't know. I guess he would know because he has seemingly been on this from the very beginning, but it didn't feel like he did in 3 and 4. Does he still want to eat people?
I ingest you.
Was that a lie? He has not mentioned wanting to eat people since that 4th movie, but he sounded dead serious about eating Mila Jovovich. When did he inject himself with the T-virus? Does he still even have it? It doesn't feel like he has, because he hasn't used any of his powers like he did in Afterlife since then, much like the eating people thing. How old is Wesker? In the present day, he looks, let's say, 30. But he shows up in a flashback that was 10 years before the first movie, looking exactly the same. This movie takes place 10 years after the first movie, so that's 20 years, so is Wesker 50? He is not 50. 50. How old is Ian Glenn? They haven't aged a day. Hang on a second. What the fuck was going on in that last one? Wesker was saving Mila Jovovich because he was turning against Umbrella, but that was all a ruse. So why did they even do that? Why did he even bother doing that? Umbrella had her right there, and he is Umbrella, so they weren't even fighting against each other. Why didn't they just kill her then?
Wind, rain.
They have an antivirus now, or at least if they don't, they can get it from her. But wait, no, they can't because Wesker removed her powers. Why did Wesker take away her powers? Why did they, being Umbrella, give her them in the first place? Do these two even know what each other is doing? Wesker is an employee compared to the CEO, Ian Glenn, so surely everything has to go through him. But why does anyone want what is happening? What is the plan? Did Wesker actually want to eat people, or was that a lie? Because it felt very real at the time.
I ingest you.
No. How much of the boat was a ruse? Because he did genuinely eat some of the test subjects. What did Evil Jill know? Did she know anything? Did she know that Wesker was eating people? Did that actually happen?
I ingest you.
Why did the evil bug turn her evil and smart, yet it turned Claire Redfield evil and dumb? They are the exact same device. Why do they have a completely different effect? Why did they even put one on Claire in the beginning? I'm still angry about that. Why didn't they just kill her then? It serves no purpose to keep her alive. What is the plan? This is actually harder to wrap your head around than Saw. I'm not kidding. So if the Red Queen is based entirely off of Alicia, the original Jovovich, why does she have that awful English accent? That is not what Jovovich sounds like at all. It's almost like this was never the plan and is a stupid retcon. And look, retcons aren't always stupid. Sometimes they are completely allowed and necessary. But this one is stupid.
The Trinity of bitches.
She also has 50% ownership of the company, and so does Ian Glenn. Would Ian Glenn not try and create a way to buy her out of that, or just get rid of her entirely? Surely he would want her to be as far away as possible from Umbrella. Hell, why keep her alive at all? Stage some accident and then be like, oh, well, I guess that's tragic. Suppose I will take the reins and take 100% ownership. He desperately wants her out of the picture. Why is she being cryogenically frozen? What is the plan? He is going scorched earth, literally committing genocide on all of humanity. Just stage her death. Ian Glenn tells Mila Jovovich that she didn't exist before the mansion, and that is why she had amnesia. But in that movie, Mila Jovovich could remember that she was acting as an aide to the environmentalists to infiltrate Umbrella back in the first movie. She had amnesia at the start of the movie, but eventually she remembered that she was helping those guys. So whose memory was that? Hers? It has to be. It can't be the old Alicia, because we've literally been shown in this movie a video from before the virus was leaked, and Ian Glenn is there explaining it, and she is actually in the fucking room and is as old as she is now. So 10 years ago she would not look like that, so this has to be the Mila Jovovich's clone's memory. Ian Glenn tells her that she had amnesia at the start of the first movie because she literally didn't exist, but in the movie that is not what is happening, because she clearly remembers things that did happen before the movie starts, aka before she has amnesia. This did happen, and we know this happened because Matt, the guy who turns into Nemesis, he is obviously real, and he was part of that whole sneaking into Umbrella thing. Did I miss something? What was this guy's fucking plan? He created a clone of the old lady who he hates to guard the laboratory with a fake husband, mind you, then had one of his clones capture her and give her superpowers, willingly let her escape only to desperately hunt her down. Then he had another clone chase her down. Did he want her to come back to the lab? Did he not? What was the plan? You know what's been pissing me off? What happened to all of those clones? Surely they would be of great use to Umbrella in this movie. An army of Michelle Rodriguez's? Fuck it, an army of Mila Jovovich's? This is what I'm saying. Introduce someone into the story that crazy and things just instantly become harder to believe. And if you want to say, oh well, the strike team, they blew up the facility in the last movie. Remember who sent the strike team? It was fucking Wesker. So that would mean that Umbrella blew up their own clone supply and facility for a joke. Justice for fucking Wesker. He should have been the main villain of this whole thing. Bringing back the much less entertaining Ian Glenn, no disrespect to the man, was completely the wrong call. And for Wesker to not even get a final fight scene or anything, that's downright insulting. He doesn't throw a single punch. He doesn't eat a single person. In the case for the Ian Glenn clones, there is two explanations and they are both as stupid as the other. Explanation A is that he made the clones and he programmed them to do exactly what he wanted. At the very least, he told the first one what to do. So that means letting Alice go, trying to domesticate zombies and promptly hunting her down again, and then I guess orchestrating the whole Wesker Russia escape plan. Now that is stupid because it means that he planned for all of those blunders to happen, which no one in their right mind would. Explanation B is that he let them loose, just put some clones of himself out in the open and hoped that they would do exactly what he wanted and wouldn't deviate at all from the plan, the latter of which clearly did happen. This is stupid because, do I even need to say it? Am I missing something? Please tell me I am missing something. Paul W.S. Anderson, this one goes out to you. Explain, please. I need it. It was also extremely cheeky to show the dream team of Resident Evil heroes at the end of the last movie, only to completely abandon them for this one. It feels so small now that you completely got rid of anyone and everyone aside from two of the least interesting characters. I'm surprised Wesker was even there, and having them all be taken out off screen, what a joke. The only truly entertaining part is this tiny moment where superpowered Ian Glenn is running through possible scenarios of Milla Jovovich trying to kill him, each of them ending with him beating her up. Please, I beg of you, watch this moment in full, it's hilarious. Oh, and visually dull as shit. 40 million goddamn dollars. I didn't even mention that someone died on the set of this and someone got paralyzed and had to have their arm amputated, so it's just cursed on all fronts. I actually felt like I was getting dumber whilst watching this one. Like, the other ones were stupid, but they didn't make me feel stupid. This last one, though it ended on a cliffhanger, was so much more of a celebration of things, lots of people returning, lots of stuff from the games, and just felt fun. This was really not fun. This was the opposite of fun. I thought Afterlife would be hard to top, but this is pretty easily the worst one of these films. But for everything I didn't enjoy about this, and all of the Resident Evil movies, I was done. Finally done with watching them all. My ass hurt. I feel like an absolute loser for wasting my day like this, but the question remains, did I gain anything from watching all of these in one sitting? No. 11 hours of my life I'm definitely not getting back. And I only noticed this while editing, but this is even crazier. Look at what this text says. It says Sector T-Pay. Like T-Pain. But it's missing the last letter, so, you know, maybe that could just be a coincidence. But then you look at this. Sector MF Do? Like MF Doom, who on the Resident Evil Retribution team had impeccable music taste. I really hope that it wasn't Jovovich.